Hey, everybody. We're so excited to welcome back Lesley Logan. Lesley, you are my first ever part 2 guest. So thank you for being here. And I just am super excited to get into everything we're going to talk about today. So much of Pilates and what's going on in the Pilates world, why it's having such a moment, but also the lineage and honestly a lot of questions that I've wanted to ask you for a long time. So I'm selfishly excited to have a lot of these questions answered.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to get asked these questions. It's so rare on a podcast that anyone wants to know these things. So
I mean, I do.
I like to nerd out about it. And I also, as someone who was not a dancer and didn't actually know what Pilates was when I got into it, having all this information quelled a lot of imposter syndrome. So I hope that our episode today can really help those people who didn't know this history, like take a deep breath and not put pressure on themselves to have known this.
I love that. And you guys, if you're listening for the first time, definitely go back and check out our first episode. It was number 47, well over a year ago now, I think, maybe even 2 years ago. But yeah, so let's just get right into it. I have one question for you. Why do people call you the bridge? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Tell me all about it.
I love this. So I was getting called the bridge in like meetings that I wasn't privy to. So like meetings where people are talking about who do we bring in for such and such thing in the Pilates world, because there is I actually I don't live in this world because I don't believe in like the classical versus contemporary war. I think it's a waste of all of our times. Mm-hmm. I think whatever you like and however you like to teach is valid. Mm-hmm. However, it does exist in some places in this world. And when particular conferences were trying to bring in more classical equipment, classical teaching, they're like, who can we bring that actually that contemporary people will feel safe to be around? And my name was like, well, she's the bridge. She makes everyone feel good. She makes everyone feel like it's okay to learn. She doesn't have judgments around what people know, if they know the order or not. So I was like, I'm the bridge. I love this. And so I have taken that name and like, I really do hold it with pride. And there are many opportunities I've said no to because I'm afraid it could burn one of those bridges ends down. Yes. And it's important to me. And so I try really hard, and, intention's everything and impact's different, but I try really hard when I'm doing things to go, how can this invite more people in, more teachers of all backgrounds in? Now I am going to teach you classically. That is how I teach. However, everyone's welcome to come and drink from that well.
Yes. Oh, wow. That was such a good jumping off point because, okay. I mean, you guys listening, you guys know this. I'm a marketing consultant. I like the wellness industry. I am nowhere close to being a Pilates instructor, business owner, any of that. Like, no. So contemporary versus classical, I hear these things, but I actually don't fully know exactly what that means. Can you like backtrack us? What is contemporary? What's classical? Why do they fight with each other so much? Like what? Just give me all these.
Can I, okay. And you know what might be possible is I might give you a reason and someone might go, she's wrong. She doesn't know what she's talking about. So 100%. So I did not know there was classical contemporary. I actually was dragged kicking and screaming to a Pilates class and, and I happened to fall in love with it. And I just kept going to classes of the teachers I enjoyed. Mm-hmm. Right. And so it's very important because you all got to think about this from the client's perspective. Very few of them know the difference. Very few of them are looking at this. It's even like yoga. A lot of people are just going to yoga class. They don't understand that they might be falling into an Ashtanga versus a Mysore versus a power. Right. And they will either like it or hate it. And eventually they settle in and then they know what they're looking for. But the average person, when they're looking for Pilates, they're looking for Pilates near me. Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. So you got to know that. So I didn't know that there was a thing. All I knew was that the woman that taught me Pilates in LA, she said, you should be a teacher. And I said, I should, I could do that. Like light bulb, Lesley, could change your career. And so she said, this is the best teacher in town. Now in LA at the time, you guys, of 2008, very few Pilates businesses were using websites. Okay. Believe it or not, very few service-based businesses were using websites. Social media was not a thing. And so I did not know that there would be any other trainings, but I was told that there wasn't. So I found myself in a classical training program. So I did not pick this path. And I say that because many people listening probably did not pick the contemporary side, but ended up in that side. Or so I just say that in case like you just found yourself in a place and now you feel like, oh, I picked the wrong side. There are no sides. You picked a lane that was attractive to you, or for whatever reason fit your needs becoming a teacher. And that there just happens to be another one. It's another school of thought. It's just like powerlifting versus kettlebells. Their goal is to make you strong. They just have a different approach. So contemporary teaching, and again, if I piss anyone off, I'm sorry, please don't come for me with the torch. But the way I see it is they teach Pilates and Pilates inspired movements, and they don't have an order. Maybe some of them have some modules or some ways that they pick and choose things, but there isn't an actual order that they use. Where the classical world, generally speaking, on the mat and reformer, they will use the order and they will bring Joseph Pilates intentions to the exercises on the other pieces of equipment. And so that's kind of like the 101, the best, like, I don't want to bore the trainers out there who are trying to figure out if they should get a mat teacher training thing. So that's just kind of the thing. So one person is going, I like to be inspired by what's going on today. I start wherever I want to start and I finish wherever I want to finish. And the other school is like, we start with the 100, we end with push-ups. That's got it. Yeah. On the reform, we start with footwork and we end with, you know, whatever one of the endings we want to end with. So that's kind of what you're looking at. Now the equipment then you get more nuance with the equipment. So classic equipment does not have colored springs. Every spring weighs the same weight. Whereas contemporary equipment has different spring settings, different spring weights. Then people get into wars about like, well, contemporary is more easily accessible for people. Classical is not. I will argue with you on that because I have seen many a person come in from all walks of life that I have taught with different nuances in their bodies. And yes, I have to bring them up to some exercises, but that's not any different than someone going to a gym and having to be built up to getting on the weights on the weight floor, you know, or going from 2 pounds to 10. So I think where I'd like the world of Pilates to go is to cut the crap and like allow people to choose the adventure that they want to do and then own the lane that you're in. And if you can own the lane you're in, you attract more clients, you have more fun, you have less imposter syndrome, and you don't have to side eye a teacher over there who's doing it differently. You can actually you can go with curiosity, and then you can take what you want and leave the rest. Like, I think that's really, it's really important.
A good life motto that we should probably just write down and put on t-shirts and don't get offended, take what you like, move on.
Because also like, I think it's so crazy when people on both sides go, oh, well, they just weren't trained, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, again, we don't know when they decided to become a teacher, what was accessible to them. In my case, that was the only thing. So I just happened to pick this. Like, no, I really like it because I like certainty. I like in a world of no control that like, I know what exercise is going to come next. I'm not going to be surprised, but that's me. And there are people who are like that. And then there's people who are like, they want it to be different all the time. That's okay. Right. That's why you have all these different streaming sites. You have Netflix versus Hulu versus what they all have different shows, and each person picks the one that they like based on what they want. Right.
It's so funny. I'm the opposite. I like going to a workout class and for it to be the one time in my day that I'm like, I'm not controlling what's going to happen next. I don't want to know. Like, they got it. I like that part of it.
Yeah. And I think that there's enough for everybody. So I think that there's enough people like me and enough people like you. And I say that because before I really became the bridge that everyone talks about, when I was just a new teacher, I found myself in a Mysore yoga class. And I was like, who would do this? But I liked the teacher and he invited me. So I went, and there was 57 people at a 6 a.m. I'm going to lead myself to the primary series in LA, guys, at 6 a.m. So that opened my eyes to like, people will pick what they know feels good to them. And our job as teachers is to make sure that we help people find the thing that makes them feel good. If I'm not the right teacher for you, I'm going to send you to the right one. And that's okay. Right. If you're like, no, I don't like this. It's like, oh, what don't you like? Oh, you want that? Oh, go to this person over here. That's okay.
Yeah. And that's such an important abundance mindset to be in. And I bet you probably didn't always have that, right? Like, I feel like that muscle really develops the longer you're in business, which is such a cool thing.
Yeah. I think like when I was in retail and I got to see the world of caddy in retail, cause you guys, when I was in retail, I worked at a mall, which like when you in a regular mall, like you can't really tell how busy another store is. But when I'm transferred to Fred Siegel, which is a mall without walls, which means there's all these stores and we can all see who's bringing someone up.
Wow.
And you can see that like this person came to my booth, looked at a purse with me, and then I watched them go over there and they buy a purse over there.
Oh, wow.
And you will become a really bitter, awful person if you start to get scarce. So I had to get abundant there and go, okay, that person didn't like my purse. There'll be another person who will, right? And there was evidence every single day of that because my store did really, really well. So that was a muscle I had to learn, and I got to watch people who didn't learn that muscle. So when I got into teaching, it didn't actually occur to me that there wasn't enough people. So I think that that's a unique experience to me. And so I say that because I know that that's not normal, but also, yes, the longer you're in business, you're going to take rejection less hard. You're going to take objections less hard. You're going to get better at it because you're going to realize you didn't die.
Yeah.
Your business didn't like close today. You survived another day. But it's also a choice. It's a choice to work that muscle and towards the abundance mindset.
Oh, I'm so excited that we're going here. I'm so excited. I have I like see like typewriter questions in my brain that I just want to ask you. So, okay. I want to go down this route of abundance mindset because I've had a lot of sessions lately with people trying to argue with me that, not actually, but like just trying to make the argument that collecting payment via Venmo and Zelle and check and cash and money order and cupcakes and paintings and whatever somehow is working out better for their business because they're not getting the 3% Stripe fee taken out. And that to me is the best example of abundance versus scarcity mindset, because unless I explain it out and I'm like, okay, you charge $150 an hour to be with a client, you're spending 5 hours a week reconciling all these payments, 5 times 150. Is that what you'd be losing in Stripe fees? No chance, right? So like, unless you spell it out for people, they have a hard time understanding that. So can you talk a little bit about Pilates instructors specifically and getting over like that scarcity mindset of payment structure a little bit?
Yeah,
I know you have a lot of experience with this as well.
So I'm going to shout out to Danica because she just made a post recently, but I've been thinking about this probably for over a decade. I'm not a dancer. I might look like one because of just like my mother was actually a professional dancer. And so genetically, I got the arches and I got all the things. I have no grace. I have promised you right now, at 4 years old, they kicked me out of the butterfly class because I just like couldn't, like they're like, don't even waste your money, Lisa. She has no skill. Right. So like my mom tried, trust me, she did. It was not happening. So I don't have that background, but I have this observation of how the dance world, because Joseph Pilates created his work for men, actually. Everyone needs to remember this. So back in the 1920s, women were not working out. People were not really working out except for athletes, but like in general, they thought if women worked out, it was going to affect our fertility. Don't even get me started on the patriarchy and our fucking, but like they did, they thought like, we can't do it. Right. So men, Joseph Pilates created that, his method for men specifically, but women did start to come and he was near these dancers and they would come to be in air quotes fixed. Those are the people who ended up just spreading the word. How about that? Yeah. They were out there like taking the work out and around because it was one of the best things that dancers could do to strengthen their bodies and prevent injury, right? That's what Pilates really is all about. And so here's my thought on this is most dancers are told how much they're worth. They are given a contract if they are lucky to be the one prima dancer in a show, right? They're that person. And if I screw this up, guys, I'm so sorry, but this is my observations of a ballet world. I did go to a ballet class and I slithered out. Hoping no one would see me. I tried adult ballet and it just didn't go well for me, but it is that whole idea. And then again, let's just say, if you want to take the dancers out of it, majority women in the industry, leading this industry, most women were not taught how to, we're talking generations. So not just my generation, we're talking my mom's generation, the generation above that, right? We're not getting too far into it. They were not taught business. They were not taught their worth. They were not allowed to have credit cards without permission.
Yeah.
Right. So we're talking about generations of people not being trained in money and business.
Mm-hmm.
And then you set the media side that like a penny saved is a penny earned. Money
God, if
grow
there's
on
one
trees.
saying I wish we could just like abolish from the vernacular.
I know. Right. So money doesn't grow on trees, like name all these things. So you have to think about the generations of people who heard that. And now these people are in business and they're doing something that they love and they are in service and for whatever reason, they feel like charging to help people have their life back, be able to just do whatever they want. For whatever reason, they feel guilty for charging for that, which is beyond me. Because every man I meet doesn't actually feel bad. I've never met a male trainer who feels bad about charging fees.
Yeah.
So you put all that together and you have these people who are like, well, if I 3%, I'm losing money, penny saved, a penny earned. And also they're not charging enough to absorb the costs of their business in the first place. Because they were told, I was told this, they're told, oh, well, go back to the dance world. You're below this person. So you're going to charge less than that person. And so everybody is charging less than the person at the top, but the person at the top, who knows the last time they raised their rates? So we don't know that. And so no one has the ability to absorb a 3% fee. So they don't realize that their time is their money and that them, oh my gosh, reconciling all that. And no wonder they hate tax time. I have one report to print out.
Yeah. Yeah. I literally love doing my taxes. I'm like, oh my God, it's a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
When you set yourself up. Right. And this is why I love the fitness world analogies, right? Because it's like, if you have a vacation coming up, and your vacation is tax season and you're like, I haven't done anything all year. I've been screwing up all year. And now all of a sudden I have this vacation and I'm going to give myself 1 week to get in shape. You're going to ruin your body, right? Like if you set things up for the entire year that feel good and feel like you're in flow, vacation's going to feel amazing. You're going to be like, cool, it's tax season. Great. I love my accountant. I love him. He jokes with me. He sent me back an email and he was like, LOL, you made a lot of money this year. Like, sucks to pay taxes kind of thing. And I was like, I love you.
I love him. Brad talks to our accountant probably on an every other day basis when it's like coming up on a big purchase that we're doing right now or whatever. Like, but we like Chad, shout out to Chad. Chad is like there for every decision we make. And we have we're recording this on tax day. We have a huge tax bill to pay, like the biggest tax I've ever paid in my life. And I'm like, I lit the money candle. I played Abraham Hicks Money Rampage. And I'm like, let the money roll, because it's not. And I get that, like, that can be like, oh, it must be nice for you to guys. Let me just tell you guys right now. I grew up in a household that screened calls because bill collectors called all the time. I grew up having to go, is that grandma or Discover? So I still don't answer my actual phone, but I never, ever, ever want to think that money is scarce. And I never want to think that I don't have money for something. Now I might not have money for something yet. But I refuse to not feel worthy of having the thing. And if I am going to, and I actually love paying taxes because that means I didn't let them hold on to the money rent free all year, you know, and that money is going to go to help somebody who needs it, you know, whether you like what the government's doing or not, like eventually it'll trickle down to somebody, I hope. But it's the cost of doing business is, if that's my cost, but I get to help all these people feel super good and like rock their businesses and rock their vacations and feel confident when they're walking their 3 dogs, I'll pay the price. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. The other thing I want to touch on that you mentioned was burnout and energy and the amount of, I mean, I'm sure you feel this way, but like when I'm running my business from a place of being drained, there's no business that's going to be left. Like I can't go into running my business and doing all these different things with low energy. Right. And like nothing drains your energy more than feeling unorganized and feeling chaotic and all this stuff. And that's the other thing that I do think women in particular have a hard time understanding, which is
they're
like,
supposed to do it all.
Your energy is not renewable. It's not. Like you need to protect your energy. And I think there's people sometimes have a hard time with, with protecting their energy and feeling like, well, it's fine. I can take payments on all these places and my spreadsheet doesn't really stress me out that bad. I don't, like there's this weird
Oh
thing
my
about
gosh.
that.
We can name a ton of examples. So first of all, again, we as women, and most women are, and I know that there's a lot of great men who are in the Pilates industry, but let's just be honest, it's mostly women. And we are sold this thing. We can do it all, ladies. We can do it all. And that we should do it all ourselves. Because if you don't do it all yourself, then you I don't know. The earth's going to shatter. People are going to think you didn't do it. Like, I don't understand. So I will say the burnout thing I had to learn the hard way. And you will burn out for a variety of reasons. One, trying to do everything all at once, all at the same time. That's obviously, of course you're going to see that. Or not taking time for yourself. Of course you're going to burn out. But burnout also happens when you are not charging enough. Because here's the deal. Money is energy. And I know that sounds woo-woo. I already mentioned Abraham Hicks. Please do not turn off your phone. Let me just say, money is energy. So your clients cannot teach you. So the only way for them to repay the energy, to replenish the energy that they just took from you, that by the way, you poured into them because you love what you do so much, they have to pay you. And if you are undercharging, that means every person is unintentionally not filling your cup back up. Imagine if your car was not filled to full each time you filled it. Eventually you're going to run out. You're going to burn out the engine. And for some people, you are not able to come back from that. Like and we lose good teachers all the time to burnout. We lose people who say like, oh, I couldn't make a living at that, so I'm not good enough. No, you were not set up for success. And that is why. So burnout happens, obviously. Boundaries. People are afraid if I say, oh, I only take credit cards, I don't take cash, I'm going to lose a client. No, you're not. And even if you are, like, really, you want the person who's like so persnickety about you that it doesn't matter how talented you are getting them to their goals, they can't pay cash. Like, of course, clients complain about little things here and there that irk them, but that doesn't mean you have to like make a new new option. So boundaries are important. Boundaries are how you take payments. They are your cancellation policies. They are that just because you pay cash doesn't mean there's a discount. It's the same price, so I learned burnout the hard way in 2016, and it did a detriment to my health. And I say that not like as oh, I'm not being dramatic, you guys. It really, really was like a combination of overworking myself. Luckily I was charging well, but I was overworking myself, trying to make my solo business happen without asking for help and without actually taking time for myself in there. And so once I refigured that and I was able to leave my crazy job and just be a solo teacher, it was kind of insane how much the doors opened up, how much I did make in a year as a solo teacher on my own. But you will have burnout if your boundaries aren't in place, if you're not being honest with like, where are your strengths? My strengths, guys, did you hear who Chad was? Hear who talks to them? Guess who's not? That's not my strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is so important. And I want to just circle back to that one thing you said of like, if a client can't or doesn't want to pay whatever your service is, right? Like if you only work with people in 5-packs and their payment, their process via Stripe on your website, if that's the product, it takes a level of confidence, but you do need to stand firmly and being like, hey, this is the package and this is how you work with me. Creating another, being like, oh, well, what do you want? You want a 2-pack? Okay, sure. I can create that. Yeah. Okay, sure. Right. Like getting into that headspace. And I know I did that in the beginning, like my first year of business, 100%. That was that. I totally understand. And we're not coming at this from like a preachy way, but like, these are the lessons we've learned that like, as firm as you can stand in what you're offering just is, the more you're going to feel protected, the more you're going to feel confident, and the more you're going to notice clients kind of respect you a little bit more, I think.
Well, confidence comes from keeping commitments to yourself. So you are actually like, if it's your first year doing things and you're just like, throwing things at the wall. Okay, I want you to set a timer. You get to try out all the things for 1 year. You get to do all of that. But then I would love for you to come back and listen to this. Because I do get it. Like you might be doing 5-packs and really no one wants them. They want 10-packs or they, so there are reasons to try things out. However,
Mhm.
it's not your first year.
Yeah.
If you are
Yeah.
struggling in your business, if there are 1,000 different products that you are selling, so you actually don't even know what's working, then this is for you, because every time you actually go against what your policies are, what your boundaries are, you don't uphold those things. It is chipping away at your confidence. And if
Mhm.
you are suffering from imposter syndrome, you feel like everything is going well for them, but not for you, I would like us to look at like, what are your behaviors? How are you contributing to that? Because, and I'm not
Mhm.
trying to be harsh. This is really important. Confidence does not come from time spent teaching. It
Mhm.
comes from keeping commitments to yourself. And there are clients out there who are testing you, you guys. This is their game. There are
Yep.
questioners. Go read Four Tendencies. It's like the most revealing book about how your clients are treating you. The questioners, they will ask questions, not because they're trying to be deceitful, deceiving. They're trying to make you bend to them. They just like to ask them. So yes,
Mhm.
they can ask, well, can I have a discount? Can I have this? Can I have this? And the answer can be no. And that
Mhm.
doesn't mean they're going to run away.
Yeah.
In fact, they might actually respect you more. I had many clients who people are like, how did you get these people? I had top C-level execs in the stock marketing world who like their secretaries would run away from them. And I would be like, if you're not going to show up to your session today, I'm going to charge you. And
Yeah.
they're like, my trainer doesn't charge me. And I'm like, well, then your trainer is being an idiot, but the
Yeah.
rules are, and you sign them, you're getting charged. And they'd march down from their offices and they'd take their session. And there was so much more respect for me because I
Mhm.
upheld a policy to them. So don't be afraid to do that, because you get clients who actually treat you the way you want, the way you deserve to be treated.
Mhm. Oh, I love that so much. All right. Let's talk a little bit about what is going on in the Pilates industry, because you and I were sort of having this chat recently, like last week when we connected, and every single client I have right now that's a Pilates studio, our work is literally how to not make the people that can't get into class feel less bad. Like that's the work we've been in, because classes are so full and everything is
Mhm.
so jam-packed. So what's going on? Why is it so successful right now? And what are your predictions for what's going to be happening over the next few months, maybe few years? Like, give me your opinions.
Yeah. So I love this so much because it's really, I've been in Pilates long enough to see about 7 comebacks. And so I really think that Pilates has never disappeared, but more people in a compounding way are hearing about its benefits. Also, I think there's been a lot more information. We've talked about this before. There's a lot more science and information. Shout out to Huberman on
Yeah.
strength-based, low impact, not as much cardio. And
Mm-hmm.
so the cool thing about Pilates is it's one of those few exercises that everybody can do.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, you can be deconditioned, you could be an athlete, and there is a type of session that's there for you. So that's really cool. And you can go from a group class of mat class of 40 people to you can be an equipment class with often like 12 people, or you can be in privates or semi-privates. So there's for the type of consumer who's like, I want to be alone, or I want to be in the energy of a group. There's something for you. And it's a full body workout, which people are so aware of their time. I think people think that people are
Yeah.
price conscious right now. I don't think so. I think they're time conscious. And
100%.
so they're not up for the 45-minute cardio class. That's
Mm-hmm.
not going to actually do the strength that they need. And they're less into like the leg day and arm day when they can do a full body day. I think that people are getting really wise to workouts that are actually going to benefit them. So that's what I think is really happening. The other thing that I
Mm-hmm.
think is happening is that pendulum, when everything shut down and people did not have access to going to the gyms, I actually think people who used to be a little lackadaisical about working out and going to the gym really got clear that they don't like online. Now, there are a ton of people.
Yep.
I'm one of them. I do virtual sessions because I like not leaving my house. I like
Yeah.
doing things when I want to, but I'm not the average person, right? I'm not I'm that's who I am, right? So I think people are just very much like, oh, that can get taken away from me. So they're a little bit more protective and they're aware of what they like. So
Yep.
that's all coming together with, there's been a rise of studios that are offering more group class-based stuff. Now, if you are a studio like me, where I have one of everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm the teacher there, or if you're a smaller studio that's like maybe got 2 of everything and you're like, I can't compete. Yes, you can.
Mhm.
Yes, you can, because there's an abundance of people. There are people who don't want to be in a room of 12 people.
Yep. Yep.
There
Yeah.
are. So like, you got to find your people. And I think what's happening is, there's just been so many more athletes to admit that they're doing Pilates. So men are participating in it. There have been more and more, women who understand that, like, I just want to feel really good. Like, I want to feel like I got to work out, but I want to feel good. And I want to be able to take things on. And people are more aware of posture, and posture isn't a marketable trait, but they like the benefits of it. So there's that. And then I just want to say, like, shout out to all the women who are making perimenopause an actual topic for us all to talk about, because more and more women are understanding that they need to strengthen their bodies, and Pilates can do that. So that is one of the things. I think it's a big culmination of all of that that's making it happen. Studios that are doing really, really well, the ones they have good systems in place. They are very clear on why they're doing what they're doing, and they make everyone feel seen. If you are doing those things,
retweet.
If you're doing those things, no matter what style of Pilates you do, no matter how big your studio is, you will be successful, whatever that version is for you. But what I see, and I'm sure you've seen as people come through you, is they're seeing these studios are being successful. And so they're like, oh, well, to be successful, I need to do what they're doing. If you have built your model to copy someone else's, I'm not trying to be mean to you. I'm not trying to be upset. I get it. Like, I was told to just do things like this person over here. I had 5 packs and 10 packs because that's what everyone else had. So I get that. You actually don't know what part of their products are profitable. You don't have the same costs as them. We don't know what their rent is. Maybe they own the building, guys. Like, maybe that's like, so their profit margins are different. So you have to be really clear and conscious. And I love working with studios and solo teachers on their price packages, because you can build in all of the success, the 3% fee, all of that in, and really ensure success. But if you are, oh, well, memberships work, so I'm just going to hold memberships. Oh, everyone uses ClassPass in town, so I'm going to do ClassPass. Oh, everyone has 12 reformers, so I'm going to have 12 reformers. You're not differentiating yourself, and then people can't decide who to go to. And if you're going to do it on cost, guess what? It's a race to the bottom. Have fun. I'm not going to go there.
Yep. Yeah. And what you're also doing is you're essentially just creating your business out of like overflow, right? Like at that point, you're kind of saying, okay, well, then everybody who can't get into Studio A will just come to me, Studio B. No one wants that.
What a weird way to go.
No one wants that, right? And like, this is something I always say to my clients who, when they're like, oh, I want to do an influencer partnership. Like, what do you think about so-and-so? And I'm like, okay, do you like her? Do you follow her? And they're like, no, I don't follow her, but they have so many followers. And I'm like, okay, they have followers that resonate with them. If you don't like their content, your people are not going to be there, right? Like that's something that's so important, is like what makes your business fun for you. Fun looks different for everyone, right? Like everybody thinks different things are fun. What you find fun, your clients are going to find fun. And what you find annoying, your clients are probably also going to find that annoying. But like, to try and fit a mold of somebody else because you've looked at that and thought that that was successful is definitely not the way to go.
Yeah, I love that you brought up fun. Like, I think people don't realize that you're going to spend more time in your business than you probably will spend on a vacations over a lifetime, or sleeping, or these things. So yes, there's many times when I'm like, oh, I have to go check that email. But for the most part, like, I get to do this. And you get to do this. And so I think the imposter, like, if you want to ensure you're going to feel like an imposter, if you want to ensure that it's going to be exhausting and a slog, then make decisions based on what you see working for other people without actually analyzing why it works and asking yourself if that's what you want.
Yep. Yeah. 100%. All right. So we talked about memberships, and I really I think this does relate back to our conversation on scarcity mindset as well. Because I had this conversation with somebody, someone scheduled a consultation with me, and she was like, hey, I have these memberships, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, have you ever done the math on how much these people are actually paying per spot in your class? And she'd never done that. She was like, no, but it's great. I get recurring revenue. And I was like, you're full. You're 100% utilized, and people want to pay you $38 a class, but instead you've got all these people on a $199 membership. Therefore, they're paying $12 a spot. you are losing $26 per person per reformer 4 times a day.
Yeah.
Like that's the 3%. Like
Oh
that's
my God. I just like my brain just kind of did a little math. I obviously can't do a lot. And I was like, oh my God. Like,
but
where is this person?
that's what's going on with memberships. So people think they're like, oh, but it's $200 a month. How great for me. And it's not the move right now. So I'm curious what your opinions are on memberships, unlimited memberships specifically.
Yeah.
And yeah, just how that pertains to everything we've chatted about.
So I'm really not into unlimited memberships unless you are a massive gym. And I mean like a gym, not a Pilates studio, but like a gym. And that's because those work really well. They're selling air and they really don't want you to come. I happened to work for a gym where they literally got to capacity at membership. There is a number that they know that like if they hit this number, they're actually over capacity, even if people aren't coming. So they had to change the rules on the membership that if you wanted to come to this club, you actually had to pay for all access to all the gyms in the country so that you couldn't complain that you couldn't get into your gym.
Oh my
right.
God.
So in those instances, they do work-ish, but in a studio, and I mean, this is for Pilates studios or a bar, any kind of like actual studio where there's equipment counts and you can only have so many. I will only condone a limited membership where you can actually tell how much per time they use the session. You actually can do the math. So that means maybe someone has a 2 time per week membership or someone has a 3 time per week membership, but I can tell if everyone in the studio today is on the 3 time a week per week membership, that's how much money I'm making. That's the cheapest it could be. That's the least amount I'm going to make. I can actually know so that I can, as a studio owner, know how much I can pay teachers. I can know how much I can pay a front desk person. I know my margins. It's really important. I only condone that if you are a studio with multiple teachers and lots of classes. And these classes should be full. And I don't mean 100%, but I don't mean 50. Like, I need you to get there, right? If you are a solo studio owner, like for me in my house, I can do classes. Everyone's on different pieces of equipment. There's no membership. You are paying on a series and you have a limited time to use that series, but that's it. Like I can't, what if I get sick? What if I need to take a vacation? Now I owe people. I have to pause. I now have to, in my own time, pause memberships because I'm going to take a vacation. That doesn't work for me. If you have independent contractors, whether they are true or you're blurring the lines, my loves, I don't like memberships for you either, because you actually are not allowed to tell them what time to come to work, which means you cannot tell them to show up for the class that you're selling. So I don't like them for those. So only like them for that small select of people who have plenty of classes. They can actually tell the price point per person. You can put rules into place. Please watch the states you live in or the countries you live in on their consumer laws. In California, you cannot expire the money, but you can expire the package. So in New York, it's a little different, I think, but like figure out what those are and then put boundaries in place. Okay, you have 6 months to use this package. Now, when that 6 months comes up, you can go, okay, you have this much balance to put towards a new package. Like if you're in one of those states, can't do it. But that is really interesting to me that they think recurring revenue is the way to go. It is also the hardest because you have something called churn that no one thinks about. They don't think about people leaving. They just think I need to get more. Yeah. Guys, every membership, online, in person, you're going to lose people. You're going to have people who know they're going to go on vacation. So there's people who don't want to be in a membership because they don't want to be trapped in. They want to pick and choose. Yeah. So I think people, they think the grass is green over there. The grass is green no matter how you do it, whether it's turf or natural. Like you can make it green. You just have to go, what is the person I'm trying to reach? Like I myself don't like a membership. I would rather I'd rather go because I travel a lot. So I don't want to be paying for something I'm not using, but someone else might like the freedom of never having to remember to pay or, oh shoot, if I don't use it, I'll lose it. Right. Like there's different types of people that motivate them. So it can work, but please don't do it because you think recurring revenue. Like that's
it feels safe.
It feels safe. It's like maybe it's because they think, oh, this is the model that the banks will allow. Like, I'm not really sure who's doing that, but I would just say like, I have multiple studios that I am coaching that are making $1 million or more, and they don't have memberships. So
yeah. I love that. That's so amazing. Yeah, I'm not a fan of them either. Okay. Let's get into rapid fire questions.
Oh yeah.
Let's do it. This has been so fun. Before we get into rapid fire questions, where can people find you? How can they work with you? I know there's so many different options. If they are a Pilates instructor, what should they join? Give us all.
Yeah. If you wanna bridge with me. Hello. So honestly, if you go to at Lesley.Logan, my links are there on Instagram. You'll see them. Profitable Pilates is where the business stuff happens. So I do keep things separate there. However, I have a podcast as well, Be It Till You See It. It is not a Pilates podcast. It's more a confidence building podcast. That's the goal. But I really there's a plenty of ways to learn from me. You can either dive into thousands of tutorials on Pilates if you want to nerd out and add that to your repertoire, and they're all free, or you can take classes with me. You can coach with me. So what I would just say is hit me up on Instagram, tell me what you like, and I will tell you where to go. You can also stalk me through those things without actually telling me that you're doing that. So have fun.
I love it. All your resources are honestly just so amazing and so useful. You can tell that every single thing you create and put out there has a lot of thought. And you always think about the end result, which is something that I really admire and love that you do.
Thank you for saying that. Coming from you, it makes me so happy. Whether it's the flashcards, which I thought the end result, I didn't realize the journey to get there, but they're so fun to do. And then, if money and pricing really scares you, we put free tools out for studio owners and for solo people. It won't tell you what your packages should be, because that's very different in Alexa, and would also tell you that once you just know a number, then it's really easy for us to break things down and get creative for you. But gotta know your numbers. So everything is there, and we are really intentional, and we are works in progress always. So if you don't see what you're looking for, let me know.
I love that so much. All right. First question. What was the hardest lesson that you learned in your first year of business?
Oh my gosh, you cannot do everything all at the same time.
I know. I was we kind of went over this one already.
Yeah, but you cannot.
Yeah.
But I learned that the first year the hard way.
Yeah. Yeah. Super important. All right. If you could tell every Pilates business owner one thing, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, just one. Uphold your boundaries. Make sure they're very clear, because that's an umbrella that can cover prices, policies, your time, your days off, but you gotta know what your boundaries are.
Yeah. I'm sure. I feel like you have a good podcast episode on that. Probably.
We do actually. I believe it's episode 154, because I just looked it up. Yeah.
I'll link it. I'll link it in the show notes, because I want to listen to it too. Done is better than perfect. True or false?
True. So true. You want to fight with me on that? I will fight you to the death, because I promise you, if you're going to have people work for you, you have to get over perfection. And also, by the way, you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. So even if you do it, it's not perfect.
So good. What does it mean to be a great entrepreneur?
Getting to know yourself, because if you are an entrepreneur, you're going to learn a lot about your triggers, the trauma, past life, all that stuff. And so to be a great entrepreneur, you got to know yourself.
Oh, I love that. That just feels so right. It goes back to what we talked about earlier too, of creating a business, trying to be or thinking that you're somebody else is such a clear pathway to burnout and just feeling resentful, that knowing yourself and running your business from that alignment is
oh my God. And it's like an onion. I'm learning new things about myself this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I love that. All right. Last question. What does success look like to you?
Okay. I love this question, because I got asked it recently, and you always go, free. It means having my own schedule. And I've been saying that a lot. So if you listen to past podcasts, I definitely said, but this year someone else asked me that question, and I was like, oh, I'm living it right now. And so I just want to say, success is what everybody, obviously you get to define it yourself, but I think it's really important that we don't think that success is a place I get to and then I'm done. And I think that's how, maybe I'm the only person, but I held success is this orb that I'm like,
Yeah.
like a moth to a light, like trying to get to. And actually, even though I've always said, oh, it's choosing my own schedule, it's traveling where I want, it's doing the things I want. I'm like, oh, I'm doing all of that. So like success actually to me is like recognizing that I'm doing the things that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then really enjoying that. And like, if you heard my podcast, it's Be It Till You See It. I am trying to be that successful person now and not wait till I've hit some sort of like arbitrary thing that no matter how much manifesting I've done, I'm in like, of course I like really, I know why I want those things.
Yeah.
But why can't it feel like that right now? And the truth is like, I'm doing all the things that I thought I would be doing when I had those things. So I may as well call I'm successful today.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. That's so important. It's so important to just recognize, the wins that you have along the way.
Yes. And that I think is also a big difference between people who are really like doing well in their business right now in this industry and those who are not, because those who are doing well, their big struggles are like, how do I not make people mad at me because we're so successful? And so they're looking at how to make other people feel good. They're in a different place. If you're not in that space, if you're not in that, you're not celebrating those wins, you're just focused on what you don't have and what other people do. So count your blessings every day.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. Well, Lesley, an amazing part 2. Thank you so much. I will do this every year.
We should have an annual. I love it.
We should have an annual.
You ask the best questions. I have the most fun. I love that people loved the last one so much, and all of it's still applicable. So enjoy, listen to it.
Yeah, I love that. Let's do it. We'll do an annual.
Love it.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.